violence continues in the streets of Hamburg, which is seeing a mass protest against the G20 summit. The police are dispersing protesters with tear gas and water cannon, while rioters are throwing bottles, stones and flares in response. Unrest broke out after a group of masked rioters refused to comply with police orders and separate from other demonstrators.
Entfernen Sie sich, der Wasserwerfer wird ansonsten gegen Sie eingesetzt. Entfernen Sie sich zu Ihrer eigenen Sicherheit von den Einsatzfahrzeugen.
RT's correspondent in Hamburg, Peter Oliver, has more on the clashes taking place there.
Well, this is the scene overnight here in Hamburg. Water cannon here on one of the city's main streets, blocking off that street and keeping a watchful eye over demonstrators that are really coming from all angles. You don't really know where demonstrators end, and those out on a Wednesday, a Thursday evening having a drink begin. There is a lot of mixing in those circles, but we've also seen some serious violent clashes over the last few hours throughout the evening. We've seen those water cannon used on protesters. We've seen protesters hurling bottles towards the police. We've seen other things thrown at the cops as well, but police have responded. Water cannon, pepper spray. There are armoured vehicles on the streets that they've been using as well as large groups of riot gear clad police. Now they've been picking off at the moment more the stray stragglers, those lone wolves, if you will, amongst the crowd that have thrown the odd beer bottle. They've been straight onto them and beaten them to the ground in some incidences with quite considerable force to try and send some kind of message. But there are groups that are still out and about around the city. We've seen fires set, we've seen cars set ablaze, dumpsters set ablaze, other things set on fire as well. And the smoke has been billowing through the evening, as it turned into night, and I imagine will continue to do so until the early morning here in Hamburg. It did turn violent very, very quickly. It had been relatively peaceful. The initial place, the gathering spot, was on the fish market, on the quayside, the redeveloped area down there on the riverbank in Hamburg. It was all going off very peacefully. Then there was a kettle put in place by the police. They wouldn't let people march, and in the hot sun that turned into a tinderbox, which eventually boiled over, resulting in an eruption of violence that caught a lot of people by surprise. And this is the way it looks, and it's going to continue. Remember, this is before the summit has actually even started. We're seeing this type of demonstration. It was called the Welcome to Hell demonstration. They certainly have seen those hellish scenes in certain places throughout the evening.
Earlier, we spoke to geopolitical analyst and consultant Rainer Rothfuss, who thinks that the protests reveal deeper social instability.
This is a clear sign of disintegration of European societies. If you see such a form of taking the rights of democracy, as the protesters claim, to the streets, it really gives you the impression that the society is heavily under tension. The appearance of the police alone in black gear, the riot police, already shows to the demonstrators that there is potential for clash. I think that they really follow the wrong strategy. They should follow the non-fight principle, a rather accommodating and rather defensive attitude on behalf of the police would be a possibility also to take away some of the pressure inside these demonstration groups.